of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Greet your neighbor. Hello. All right, our invitation will be offered by Seth Butler.
Would you pray with me? Father, thank you for this building in which we're able to gather today, for the food that we've been able to enjoy, the fellowship that we get to experience each and every week here at Rotary. We're thankful for the opportunity that we have to serve our community through Rotary, and I pray that you would give us the humility to see others as more important than ourselves. Whether we're giving generously to causes around us, or maybe cheerfully greeting one another, or placing flags around town, or even driving an exchange student to an overnighter. Would you please help us to see beyond the tasks that are in front of us? Would you give us eyes to see how our work changes lives? Let our impact be lasting. Would the work of this Rotary Club bring hope and joy to those that are around us? We pray this in your name. Amen.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Since we kind of had last week off and not here, I feel like this is my first week again, so I'm kind of got the nerves to get back. I'm not sure why. But today is National Avocado Day. I am not an avocado person, so I had to kind of do some research about this. So if you know all this, I'm sorry. This is just boring information. But avocado is actually a fruit, not a vegetable. Mexico produces the most avocados. And then if you want to know if an avocado is actually ripe, you give it a tiny squeeze. If there's a little bit of a give, then it's time to eat. If there's too much of a give, it's probably overly ripe. So there's your knowledge on avocados if you didn't know already. Okay. So we have an amazing agenda for today. So I'm going to have Secretary Lynn and the Secretary's report.
Thank you, President Courtney. Scott Allen has the traveling microphone, and we will start with past President Roger Cook.
I welcome my middle son, Dan, who is the pilot EPS.
And Matt Martin.
My guest today is Dave McMillan. He's the building trade speaker at West Holmes High School, or person, I'm sorry, and is also the Lane County Plains Township trustee.
We have two announcements from the podium, past President Kathy McConnell and Robin LaRue Beasley. And while they're coming forward, I would like to announce that past District Governor Steve Wilder, he's only been a couple years ago. I think Terry Snoddy, maybe was that your governor? His wife passed away. We will get you details as they come out, but let's keep Steve in our thoughts and prayers.
Hello, everyone. Just wanted to make a quick announcement about youth exchange for this upcoming year. After a very successful restart last year with Sujit and Izumi, hosted by our club, and sending Hayden Michelle to Japan, we now have two students coming. How do I get this going? Oh, there we go. We now have two students coming beginning the weekend of August 11th and 12th. And we will all get a chance to meet them at the Rotary Picnic on August 14th. So we have Eriko from Japan. She sent this lovely photo of her wearing kimono that she was just wearing at her sister's wedding. And we've got Armando coming in from Mexico, and as you've been hearing, he's a very avid swimmer. And we are also sending Robert to Japan. You got to meet him a couple of weeks ago too. Just wanted to quickly update you too about the Youth Exchange Committee. The committee is meeting today after the club meeting, just for about 20 minutes or so. And did want to invite anyone who is interested in helping out on the committee to join, whether you're on this list or not. And you can see that we have an open position for host family coordinator, which we can talk about as well. But I'm happy to announce that through the very, very generous work of Dr. Tudor with the Worcester City Schools, everybody from the Rotary Club to other interested parties who posted on Facebook, to other personal connections, we do have all 3 of Erico's host families secured for this year. And we have the first and the third host family for Armando secured. The first host family is the Janet and Stephanie Daly family. For Armando and for Erico, you all got to see Jamie Gessler Tangent here a couple of weeks ago. Her family is hosting Erico for the first family. So we're looking for that middle host family for Armando. I would really love to see anybody who has a swimming member, a swim team member host, or somebody who doesn't mind getting up at 5:30 in the morning and transporting them to the pool for early morning practices. Again, you're all welcome to come to our meeting this afternoon, even if you're just curious about what Youth Exchange does. Thank you.
Okay, next Monday is Meals with a Mission. You're going to have a choice of brisket, barbecue chicken, zoodle bowl, and then there'll be a $5 drink and a $5 dessert. We are having 50-50. Worcester Brush gave a raffle basket. We have many other raffle baskets, but we still are looking for things. So if you have something you want to donate, you can drop it off to Courtney or Samira. I will be in Texas. So if you need, you can get on the Worcester Rotary site and scan for your tickets, but most of you have bought it and we really appreciate it. This is our second biggest fundraiser next to the flag. So we appreciate everybody coming. We hope you enjoy it. You can dine in, you can dine out. There will be music and you can take it to go. So we look forward to it, or Courtney does, because be in Texas. Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, so welcome Dan and David. We appreciate you guys being here. We hope you guys enjoy today's program. Before we kind of get into it, I'm actually going to have Blair Young come up and he's going to go through, give us his classification talk.
All right, well, let me begin by saying that part of my job responsibility includes creating content for social media across all the platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, whatever we're on. But I found out I don't know how to do a PowerPoint presentation, so there will be no great pictures of my cats and dogs. So I apologize for that. If you want to see on my house, I'm on my phone. Meet up with me later. So I'm just going to follow the outline that I was given for this, and I'll just start by talking about my life story. There's some interesting things. I was born in Akron, Ohio, in a convent for unwed mothers. I was put into foster care at that point. 6 weeks later, I was adopted by a couple out of Worcester, Ohio, and I have no regrets about that whatsoever. They were hardworking, God-fearing, honest people. They raised their kids the best they could, and I think we all turned out pretty well. A few years ago, my daughter decided to do one of those spit in the tube DNA tests. And her results were pretty interesting. And the reason she said she did it, she wanted to know if she should be celebrating Oktoberfest, St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo, or something maybe we didn't even know about, right? So after a couple months after she got her results, she finally cajoled me into doing it. And so I did. I got my results, and subsequently I found 5 half brothers and 3 half sisters across the United States. One of the most interesting things to me, at least, about that was I found out that I'm a direct descendant of the McCoy family from Pikeville, Kentucky. And even the most novice of history buffs would know that that family had a little beef with another family that went on for a few generations. So that's that might explain a little bit about me. So that raises the question, how does an Irish kid with Appalachian roots end up in the pizza business in Worcester, Ohio? Most of my career, I had been in outside sales during the recession of 2008, 2009. The company I'd worked for quite a while decided to stop doing business in the state of Ohio, and it left me without a job. My partner's father owned a pizza shop here in Worcester, and very reluctantly, I'm sure he said, well, you could go work there until something else comes along. So some other things came along, but I enjoyed that business. And I just felt that was where I should be. After a few years, I assumed the role of general manager of that restaurant, and that was something that I held for a little over a decade until we had an opportunity to sell our share in that and purchase Fosca's in Worcester. So that's my career story. It's pretty boring, but it is what it is. So the next thing was, what do you do when you're not at work? Well, I do a few things. I'm a licensed realtor with RE/MAX Showcase, the Mingay team. I do that kind of part-time. I'm also an officer in 3 Masonic bodies. Currently, I'm the High Priest of Worcester Chapter 27 of Royal Archmasons. I'm also president of Worcester Fraternal Management Company, which is a nonprofit organization that is responsible for the preservation and maintenance on one of the oldest buildings in downtown Worcester. Worcester Masonic Temple was built in 1916. And the maintenance and preservation of that presents some interesting challenges. But I'm not doing that. I got reacquainted with golf this year. I put golf on the back burner for about 15 years to coach boys lacrosse in Worcester. The last 7 of which of my career, I was a varsity boys head coach at Worcester High School, a position that I gladly transferred to fellow Rotarian Reed Delaney. And I know Reed's not here today, but Reed's done a great job. And if you didn't read in the paper, didn't see it on social, he was the Ohio Division II Coach of the Year for boys lacrosse. So if you see Reed, make sure you congratulate him. Getting back to golf, about the only thing that's improved with my game is my ability to creatively string profanities together. Getting pretty good at that. I know earlier this month, Brian Bogner posted a picture of a golf shot that was as close to a hole-in-one. I don't have a picture of mine. There were just too many trees in the way for me to have a picture of that. So as far as my family goes, I have a son who's 29. He lives just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. He's a brewmaster at a craft brewery down there. He's married. His wife is a E6 in the United States Army. She's currently stationed at the JFK Special Warfare Center as a member of the 1st Special Operations Group. So they have a 5-year-old daughter. I was just down there last weekend, and I came to the realization that that's why God allows only young people to have children. Because after 4 days with a 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old, I was exhausted for sure. I have a daughter who's 24. She lives in Ashland, but she works at Worcester Community Hospital. I have an amazing partner, Beth Meininger, who is a realtor with RE/MAX Showcase. She's been my life partner for almost 2 decades. She's now my business partner, and that seems to go pretty well. And she's the driving force behind a lot of things that we do. We have some 4-legged kids. A number of years ago, we decided we were going to name all of our dogs after country music, classic country music ideas. So we had a dog named Loretta, and we had a dog named Fancy. And when they went onto the Rainbow Bridge, we replaced them with our current herd of dogs, Joetta and Tammy. We also have 2 cats that tolerate us living in their house, and that's pretty nice of them. And that's really my story. And I just do want to say thank you. I've always held this club and its members and the works that it does in very high esteem. So thank you, and I'm proud to be a member. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I am honored to actually introduce our speaker today and his lovely wife. So we have today with us Dr. Richard S. Stirpak and his wife Marcia. And so Dr. Stirpak received his bachelor's in zoology in 1971 and his DVM in 1976 from the Ohio State University. He became associate veterinarian at Stark Animal Hospital in Canton, Ohio in June of 1976. In 1979, he became the partner in the practice and continued serving the interest of his pet owning clients for the next 39 years. In 2017, being sole proprietor of the multi-man practice, he elected to sell his interest in Stark Animal Hospital LLC and served as chief of medical staff for the Stark Animal Hospital until his retirement in 2018. In 1982, Rich was inducted into the Rotary Club of Canton, where he belonged for 4 years, serving on multiple committees. In 1986, he resigned his membership in the Canton Club to become member of the Rotary Club of Plain Township. Balancing a busy practice and Rotary commitments, Rich served on the board of directors multiple times, served as Club Avenue chairperson and Vocational Avenue chairperson, and served on various committees, including as chairperson of the Pancake Day Committee and the Rotary Charitable Golf Outing. Rich was proud to serve as president of the Rotary Club of Plain Township in 2016-17 and district membership chairperson for Rotary District 6650 during 2020-2022. He looks forward with excitement to continuing his service above self as district governor of Rotary District 6650 into 2023-2024. Rich and his wife of over 50 years, Marcia, have lived in Plain Township for over 40 years. They have 2 daughters, Ellen, who is an attorney in Maumee, Ohio, and Emily, who is an RN serving in post-surgical cardiac ICU at the Cleveland Clinic. They also have 2 grandsons, Kyle, who's 17, and Mitchell, who is 14. In his spare time, Rich enjoys golf, reading, watching the grandsons' baseball games, and home projects. Help me welcome our district governor, Dr. Richard Stirpak.
Thank you so much. It's one of the things I've noticed as being district governor is many Rotary clubs meet at churches. And there's a very interesting thing that happens when you meet in a church. I learned about it from the pastor at our church. It's called the Gulf of Avoidance. Gulf of Avoidance. Nobody sits close to the front. In fact, at our church, you've got to get there early if you plan to sit in back. Anyway, I want to thank you for having me here today, and I really mean that. Believe it or not, there are clubs in this district that don't look forward to the visit of the district governor. In fact, there are clubs in this district that don't invite the district governor. Now, as close as I can figure, the reason for that is they don't want somebody from the district coming in and telling them how to run their club or how they should change it so that it would run better. First off, I'd like to say that is not my job. And thank God for that, because that would be doomed to failure. There's no way anybody can come from the outside and tell you how to improve your club. If your club needs to be improved, you should know it, and hopefully you work together to make it better. Rather, my job here today is really to tell you thank you. Thank you for being Rotarians. Thank you for being a part of Rotary District 6650. And perhaps we can share a few ideas. I have an issue here, though. Usually I go to a club hoping to build some energy, to build some excitement, to generate enthusiasm. But in my experience, Worcester is the kind of club that I would go to get that. not to give that. So it's really hard to think about what should I say to this club that they couldn't tell me something better. So I decided I'm just going to go ahead and continue on with what I would usually say. And you can sit back thinking I'm preaching to the choir and just consider I'm talking to someone else at your table, not to you. I've spent the better part of last year and we'll spend this year talking to clubs about what I call the 4 C's: commitment, continuity, communication, and contribution. Probably all pretty much familiar with those concepts in one form or the other, but I truly believe that a good club improves if the 4 C's are used. And Worcester is a very good club and a very vibrant part of the district. Rotarians are committed people. They're people of action. They're people of ability. Past District Governor George Hayes has said, with ability comes responsibility. Responsibility ties in closely with commitment. I do not believe that commitment has degrees. Commitment is like dead or pregnant. It's a totality. You either are or you are not. If one finds that often Rotary is starting to take up too much time to get in the way of things one might want to be doing or rather be doing, it may be time to reevaluate commitment. I believe that one will find time for that which one considers to be of value. And it's a lesson you all know. You're all committed to Rotary. The favorite game of Rotary is the reinventing of the wheel. Every July, we start with new leaders and new ideas, starting with the president of the RI all the way down to the club level. We shuffle leaders, goals, and ideas. But we all know that good ideas can take more than a year to come to fruition. That's why it's so important to find those committed individuals who will act together as leaders to add continuity from year to year. It's the process we are actively pursuing now at the district level. The DG line meets, discusses, agrees, and plans for the year to come, the years to come, not just for what happens this year, but what will we do in the future? And your club leaders should be doing the same. At both the district and the club level, the officers, the leaders need to meet, discuss, and plan for the future. This club's future, the district's future. And by leaders, I'm not talking about a VP. I am talking about a VP. If you don't have a PE in place already, you're behind in the game. But Worcester does a good job of finding these leaders and having them in line. And that's admirable. The information and ideas decided by these leaders needs to be a part of the communication between the officers, the board of trustees, the club members, and the district. It takes a minimum of 2 people to communicate. Communication is a sharing of thoughts and ideas between peoples, but one person talking is not communication, even if the other people actually happen to be listening. So talk. That's the way you keep your club growing, keep your club vital. The leadership line should be meeting and discussing plans and goals. And this information should be shared with the board and the club so that they can help the leadership achieve their goals. Now, we all know that being contacted by a district officer will always be bad news. The district either wants something or it wants you to do something. Heaven forbid that the district could just be doing its job and actually has a vested interest in the club doing well. I recognize that in order for this district to succeed, the clubs must succeed. You know, as your president watches over the activities of the club, the district watches over the activities of the president. And as the district is watching over the activities of the president, the zone is watching over the district, executives. We've all got jobs that carry expectations, and we all have a job to do. So amongst other things, give me a break too. Please read and respond to district communications. It really does mean something. Contributions. What will be your contribution to Rotary and this club? Will it be a new member? Do you value being a Rotarian? Do you enjoy being a Rotarian? If so, why would you not want to share that value with a friend? Can you think outside of the box to find novel ways of getting new members or even friends of Rotary? Will you contribute a warmer and more welcoming atmosphere at your meetings? We all have friends in our club, and those are people with whom we enjoy being with. But maybe a guest would benefit from that same fraternity. Will you contribute a speaker who will give an informative and interesting presentation at a meeting? New members or seasoned veterans, we all need to contribute. Now the nuts and bolts, the dollars and cents. And I do know that that Worcester has met the $1 million level, and I can't do anything but say congratulations. That's marvelous. But that's before. Will you contribute to the Rotary Foundation? Will you increase your gift to the Rotary Foundation? Rotary is a wonderful machine that generates astounding results. The Rotary Foundation is the fuel that keeps that machine running. Around the world, 70% of Rotary clubs donate to the foundation, but only 38% of members donate. 70% of the clubs, 38% of those members. The few carrying the many. I would love to see a year where every Rotarian in the district donates to the Rotary Foundation. I would love to see those Rotarians donate or increase their donation by $26.50. You know the significance of $26.50. $26.50 was the amount of the first donation made to the Rotary Endowment Fund in 1917. A check in the amount of $26.50. That endowment became the Rotary Foundation. District 6650 would increase its support by over $45,000. $45,000 for slightly more than 50 cents a day. Poliomyelitis, or polio, is a highly contagious, disabling, and potentially life-threatening disease caused by an enterovirus, aptly called the poliovirus. The virus lives in the mouth and digestive tract of infected people and is spread by the contamination from the secretions and waste of the digestive tract. Most people infected with this virus never show any clinical signs. They just spread it. Those who develop signs are usually mild, they're non-specific flu-like signs, and they recover in 2 to 12 days. Meningitis occurs in about 1 to 5% of those with poliovirus. And paralysis, the weakness of the arms, legs, or both, occur in about 1 out of 200 or 1 out of 2,000, depending on the virus type. Paralysis is the most common symptom associated with poliovirus because it can lead, paralysis is the most severe symptom associated with poliovirus because it can lead to permanent disabilities and death. Between 2 and 10% of those who have paralysis from the poliovirus die because the virus affects the muscles that help them breathe. But even children who seem to recover can develop new muscle pain, weakness, or paralysis as adults 15 to 40 years after they've recovered. It's called the post-polio syndrome. I tell you this because polio has been eradicated from the US for decades. Most have never seen children with metal braces and crutches. Most have never seen a person in an iron lung. But I have, and I won't forget it. In 1985, Rotary embarked on an arduous campaign to eradicate polio from the face of the earth. Since then, Rotary has raised over almost $3 billion for that goal. Every year, Rotary sets a goal of a minimum of $50 million for polio eradication. And every year, it looks like we're not going to make it. And every year, Rotarians come through and that 50 million is achieved. And once that 50 million is achieved, a 2-for-1 match from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation goes in, and that 50 million immediately becomes $150 million. But it'll be years before we're done. Polio is still just an airplane ride away. You know, remember, most people who have it show no signs. New children are born every day, and they need to be protected so they protect the rest of us. Now, before you start feeling too philanthropic, too generous, let me give you another number. 12% of club members donate to Polio Plus. 12%. Now, we all saw the lines of club presidents receiving certificates from past District Governor Jeff Gall for donating at least $1,000 to polio eradication at the district conference, right? You were out there. You saw that line at district conference. Remember? Yeah. Okay. But the majority of those certificates went to the clubs that budget expense. It's a budgeted expense in your dues, not really a donation. It's a lot like saying, I contribute to the national defense because I pay my taxes. Well, yeah and no. That's not the way it works. The Polio Plus Society. I intend to get our district to take part in the Polio Plus Society. This is a pledge, a $100 donation annually to Polio Plus every year. Yeah, another donation. We're all the way up now to a whopping $2.50 every week, $2.50, not even a cup of coffee. This pin is awarded to all Polio Plus Society members. Now, if you're willing to donate $100 a year to get this pin, I guess that's okay. But if you're willing to sacrifice a cup of coffee each week so that a child might not need to walk on crutches, so that an adult will not perish because of an inability to breathe, so that a young man or woman isn't sentenced by the virus to pull and drag himself through the dirt for his lifetime, then you understand Rotary. Past RI President John Jerns says, it's not about the money. It's about what the money can do. So this year, my focus will be on increasing our impact on polio eradication, on helping kids, and improving personal mental health. I would love to see each of the clubs in 6650 net 2 new members. Just 2 new members net. But I want every one of those club members to have a My Rotary account. Every one of the club members, not just the new members, but everyone. Now, to those who are still listening to me preach to the choir, just over 50% of Worcester Rotarians have My Rotary accounts. And that's about the same number reported by PDG Steve Wilder 2 years ago. I would love to have each club in the district sponsor an End Polio Now event. Make it a fundraiser if you want, but an event to educate the public as to what is happening around the world and what Rotary is accomplishing in this area. I would love to see each club focus on events on and for children. You know, kids are our future. It's not getting any easier out there. I think there are things we can do to help out. I love Right to Read type programs. Reading to kids is great. Backpacks for the kids who are food insecure. Elevate young girls. It is beyond my comprehension that today we still have young girls, young women who miss school once a month because of a lack of personal hygiene materials. Not talking third world countries. We're talking Plain Township. We're talking Canton local schools. I would imagine we're talking Worcester schools. There are people out there that could use our help. Let me know what you plan. I'll look forward to joining you. But lastly, please remember that mental health is a concern in this country and one we must prioritize. Research shows that acts of kindness is one of the most effective steps any of us can take to protect our own well-being and make us more resilient to all the challenges we encounter in life. And by building peace within, we become more capable of bringing peace to the world. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much and appreciate your time with us today. We would like to present you with this rendition of the Rotary Wheel with the 4-way test on the back that was made locally and donated by the students of the Village Network.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Well, I wrote down a lot of good feedback from him and I look forward to the encouragement and the challenge for this year. So one of the things that he mentioned of bringing in a guest. So we have a couple good events coming up for the next couple weeks. So next week, we have our Meals with a Mission, but we will be having a June meeting, 5812 Global Mission from Thailand, serving the most vulnerable. Will be here at noon. So we will be having a noon meeting, and then the Meals with a Mission in the evening, and then the picnic that we're going to be having at the Rotary Pavilion. And then after the picnic, we would actually like whoever can stick around to go down and get a picture down at the Grove down there. So we're really excited, and hopefully the weather turns out to be beautiful on that day. So with that, I think we stand adjourned. Thank you.